He lived a life measured in pings and notifications. His morning started with a screen, and his night ended with the blue light of a laptop. His world was fast, loud, and demanding. He placed the plant on a wooden stool near the window and promptly forgot its name. He noticed, however, that the plant didn't seem to mind being forgotten. It didn't demand attention like his phone did. It just sat there, its leaves deep, glossy green, so dark they almost looked like polished stones. For the first 2 weeks, he treated the plant like a piece of furniture. But one day, after a stressful day of meetings and missed deadlines, he returned home to find the plant transformed. The leaves, which had been standing tall and proud, were now slumped over the sides of the pot. They looked exhausted. He remembered the instructions. Water when the soil is dry. He poured a glass of water into the soil and watched as it disappeared into the earth. He sat on the floor watching it. Nothing happened. He grew impatient and went to bed, convinced he would wake up to a pot of brown compost. But the next morning the plant was upright. It hadn't just recovered. It looked stronger. This was the first lesson the peace lily taught him. Silence is not the same as absence. The plant was working underground, moving the water through its veins, rebuilding itself while he slept. It just needed the right nourishment and a little time. He began to look at the plant differently. He stopped seeing it as a decoration and started seeing it as a roommate. He named it Sil, from the word silence. He decided to try an experiment. Instead of checking his emails first thing in the morning, he would spend few minutes sitting in front of Sil. At first it was boring. He saw nothing. The leaves were just leaves. They didn't move. They didn't grow an inch while he watched. But as the days turned into weeks, his eyes adjusted to a different speed. He started to notice the subtle things, the tiny sweat drops on the tips of the leaves. So he waited. Days passed. The world continued to be loud. But in the corner of his room, the secret was unfolding at its own pace. The unfolding was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen because it was so completely effortless. It wasn't a flower in the traditional sense, but a spathe leaf that had decided to become light. He realized that the plant wasn't surrendering to defeat. It was surrendering to its own nature. It had spent weeks gathering strength, drinking light, and breathing air, just for this one moment of quiet brilliance. The peace lily had arrived at its perfect moment. It didn't check to see if other plants were blooming. It didn't worry if it was on schedule. It simply waited until the conditions were right. And then it showed the world its heart. He looked at his own life. He had been so busy trying to bloom every single day that he had forgotten how to grow. He had been so loud that he had forgotten how to be beautiful. He leaned in close to the white bloom. He learned that growth happens in the dark. Most of the work is done underground where no one can see it. Patience is a form of power. Staying still while the world spins is a choice, not a weakness. Softness is stronger than noise. Now, whenever he feels the rush of the world catching up to him, when his heart beats too fast and the deadlines feel too heavy, he goes to his peace lily. He looks at those glossy, deep, still leaves. He remembers that he, too, is a living thing. He reminds himself that he doesn't need to hurry. He just needs to drink the light, breathe the air, and wait for his own perfect moment to arrive. And when it does, it will be a soft surrender, a white stroke of tranquility, a moment that didn't need to be loud to be beautiful. It just needed time.